Hi, everyone. Um, I hope that you can hear me. Good afternoon from Chicago. At this point, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Kemi Onajole. I am the director of the International Center here at Illinois Tech. I have been at Illinois Tech for the past 3 years. But I have been working with international students for the past 15 or so years. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. This is the time that we will now spend to answer questions for our international students who may have questions about visas, work eligibility, when they can arrive in the US and all of that. So if you would like some answers to those questions, please stay around. It would be my pleasure to start answering questions. And we will do it in this format. Somebody will ask the questions and then I will answer the questions as they're asking. So I would turn things over to Sam DeLeon. She is our Assistant Director for International Enrollment, and she will be, and she and a few other people from our admission team will be fielding questions to me. So Sam, over to you, and we'll go from there.
Hi, Kemi. Thank you to everyone who is joining us today. I have a few questions that have come up, and there seems to be more frequently asked ones. One of the questions was, when are students eligible to apply for CPT, given that some students will be online this upcoming fall?
Right. So if you are unable to join us this fall semester physically in Chicago, and you either want to take your classes online, or you wish to not take anything for fall but come in January, you would be eligible for CPT, which is curricular practical training, at the end of the summer 2021 semester. Meaning that you have spent full-time enrollment for the spring semester, and then you would have also been enrolled full-time for summer 2021. So your CPT essentially would start, your internship opportunity would start at the end of August in 2021. Next question.
Perfect. This is a question in regards to, can I defer my admission if my embassy is not open yet?
Sure. So we have a couple of options to answer this question. And one thing I will say is that some embassies around the world are starting to open. We do not know when they will open, but what we are advising you is that please continue to contact, email, phone, the embassy, the US embassy closest to you. They will give you information about when you can apply for your F1 visa. But we do know that some routine services, as they call it, are beginning to open in Europe in some places. So please do check with the US embassy closest to you. They will give you that information. However, if you are unable to, if you're from a country where the US embassy is not opening anytime soon, you may first choose to start your program online. So that's the first option. The second option would be that you can arrive late to the US, and the latest date that you can arrive to the US would be September 22nd. Again, I will repeat, you have two options if you are unable to start in August. First, you can completely start your program online. However, if your embassy opens later in August or early September, the latest date that you can arrive on campus will be September 22nd. All right. Next question, please.
And then just to follow up, students in that regard, if you do have a confirmed appointment with the U.S. Embassy or Consulate, please connect with your undergraduate or graduate office, and then that way we can provide you a late arrival letter. So that's one thing. So thank you for that clarification on arriving to the country by September 22nd.
Yes.
You know, I think there's been a lot of talk and a lot of questions in regards to if I am still planning on coming for the fall of 2020, do I require a new I-20 with new remarks?
As many of you may know, last week, the US government released some guidance to a lot of all the schools in the US about how what we should do with your international and immigration record for the fall semester. And as you probably know, that guidance is no longer standing. It has been struck down in the courts. So if you have an I-20 that does not have any remarks on it, it is fine. You may use that I-20 to apply for a visa stamp. If you do have an I-20 that does have a remark on it and you want to get an updated one, we can provide one to you. Although I don't think that if you use the one with the remark, it would be harmful to you, all right? But if you feel more comfortable to have an I-20 without the remark that they told us last week to put on the I-20s, our admissions team will be able to provide one to you. But I don't think it's a detriment to your visa process if that remark is on your I-20. Next question.
Sure. So what happens with my I-20 if I am taking classes online for the fall and coming to campus in the spring of 2021?
Great question. So if you choose to take classes online, for this fall semester, this upcoming fall semester, you would need to let our admissions team know so that they can defer your I-20 start date. So right now, all I-20 start date for fall will have August 24th, 2020 on them. That is the start date of our fall semester. However, if you have chosen to take your classes online for the fall semester, we would then defer the I-20 start date to the start of the spring semester in January 2021. We would give you an updated I-20, and then sometimes in October or November or December of 2020, you can then apply for your visa with the US Embassy in your home country.
Perfect. Another question is, what will happen with my SEVIS ID if I am transferring to Illinois Institute of Technology from another university, college, or high school in the United States, but will be taking courses online for the fall of 2020? Can you please advise on this?
Without going into too much details, because I always tell people that our students' immigration journey and story is very different. So without going into too many details, I will answer that question generally. If someone is presently in the US, whether a high school student, you are transferring to us as an associate degree seeker into our undergraduate program, yes, you can take classes online for the fall semester. The guidance, the revised guidance that we got, I believe yesterday, is permitting students who are in the US to take classes online due to the outcome of the COVID-19 pandemic. So if you have not transferred your SEVIS record to IIT yet, please connect with your enrollment advisor so that they can assist you to transfer your SEVIS record to IIT. But like Peter and a few other people have mentioned before me, we do have physical classes, and within our physical classes spaces, we are allowing for students to be socially distant. So you would be able to take some classes in a hybrid format. You would still be able to take some classes in the physical space and then take some classes online. Next question.
Perfect. And just so you know, for the students who are asking questions, we're trying to field the questions that are more frequently asked. If you do have a more specific question, we do recommend speaking directly to our, whether it's the I-Center or your enrollment advisor in the graduate office, or maybe even if you are in the undergraduate programs, your counselor. And so, you know, with that being said, one of the questions that comes up here is, can I take classes online if I am in the United States on an H-4 visa?
Yes, so an H-4 visa is the dependent visa of someone who is here on an H-1B. The H-1B visa is a work visa. So the dependent, which is the spouse or a child under 21 of an H-1B visa holder, is the H-4 person. And yes, you can take classes, whether part-time or full-time, online, hybrid, physically on the H4 status. You cannot work, but you may be able to take classes in any format. Again, part-time, full-time, hybrid, physical classes on the H4 visa.
And just a follow-up, Kemi, can students take classes online on the L2
I
visa?
believe so. My expertise is not in the L1, L2. That's a different category of work visas as well. So for whoever asked this question, I will advise you to speak with the L1 holder and find out from the employer what they advise. Because again, the H-1B and the L1 visas are visas given specifically to a US employer, and then that employer gives it, you know, in theory, to the employee. So please connect with your L1 visa holder, maybe your spouse or your parent, and they can ask your the employer to advise them on that one.
Thank you. This next question is, what if I started my studies on campus at Illinois Tech in the fall of 2019? Can I still be online from my home country for fall of 2020?
I am excited to be able to say yes to this question. This time last week, the answer was no. However, again, with the outcry that came from a lot of us in higher education in the US, from those who work in international education, from NAFSA, and a lot of advocacy went into changing the regulations that were given to us last week. So as of today, July 16th, yes, if you were a continuing student, meaning that you have an active CVIS record with our university or another university, and perhaps you are transferring to IIT, you may take your fall 2020 classes online from the comfort of your home country and still maintain your F1 status.
Okay, great. The next question is, and I know that you've already kind of addressed this, we don't have the answers to when the US embassies or consulates are open.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any advice for any of these students who are trying to seek their and getting their visa?
Yes. One of the things that I do on a daily basis, I do have the embassy, the travel.state.gov website pinned to my computer. I check it every day. I check it maybe a few times a day. It's on my phone. So if you are a student that is waiting to hear from your specific US embassy, I would make that one of the places you check frequently. You can also follow them on social media. That's one of the things that I do. Sometimes they put some information on social media before they put it on their websites. And then more than that, or in addition to that, email them. This is who I am. I have gotten admission to IIT. I would like to apply for a visa either for fall or January. Can you let me know when I will be able to do so? And I know that a lot of US embassies are getting questions like that, and they are answering those questions. So it is at their discretion. We do not know when they will open, but they will let you know when they will open and when you can book an appointment with them.
Perfect, thank you. I know that there are some questions that are specific to like tuition fees. I think those would be best addressed and answered by your enrollment advisor or counselor. So I'm not going to ask that just because I think that they're specific to the program that you are in. Again, you can always reach out to our offices, and then that way we'll get the correct answer for you. One of the questions here is, if I am coming from outside of the country, will I have the same opportunity amenities for quarantining as students coming from hotspot states?
I'm not sure if I am the best person to answer that question. I think perhaps it was answered a little bit earlier by either Katie or Gary Wally. So I will defer to them on this one. I apologize. I don't want to misspeak for that question. Or perhaps we can answer that question specifically for that person. Okay, Mike Goss will be able to take that question for us. So we will switch over to him right now. Mike, over to you. You are muted.
Hit the right there. Now I did it.
Yep.
Thank you. So that's a really good question, and the answer is yes. We have made local arrangements, two types of arrangements for our students to help them self-quarantine. If you are staying in our housing, that's one possible option. We do have an arrangement with a local hotel. It's very, very nice, where we have about it's over 70 rooms reserved for our students that are traveling into our campus and need quarantine. So, you know, we did this actually after spring break in March for a number of students who traveled in from various locations around the world, and that worked out very, very well. So there's shuttle service and also food service, and the rooms are actually really nice. So yes, the answer is, the short answer, yes, for that's available for all of our students.
Thank you, Mike, for answering that for us. Let me see if there are other questions here. A lot of them go back to the idea of the self-quarantining, and here it says, I know a question was asked, what countries are considered hotspots? Where can I find out this information? We will defer to the Center for Disease Control for this one. And so, you know, we can definitely put some links within our box, but if anyone here on this call has any feedback for the student or students internationally, please let us know as well.
Next question.
Yeah. Again, it's are international students required to get tested and self-quarantine for 14 days when arriving to Chicago?
I believe, again, that question was answered in part by Katie, by Gary, and by Mike. I think that if you are coming from a country that the CDC may determine is a hotspot, we would then, as a campus, follow the guidelines of the Center for Disease Control, and then provide you with information about how and where to do quarantine when you do arrive in Chicago and in the US. Next question.
Yeah, a student here, and this might be a little bit more country specific, they were able to secure an appointment for October 2020, and the student is coming from India. They are wondering, though, do you think the U.S. consulate will take the F1 visa under the expedited category?
Well, I will answer that question in two parts. If you have been able to secure a visa appointment for October and you want one earlier so that you can arrive in the US for the fall semester, you can and should request such an expedite request with the US Embassy. They would be the one to decide if you are eligible. If, however, and this is the second part of my answer, if they do not expedite the visa request for you, you may then start your program online for the fall semester, obtain your visa in October, and then travel to the US to start for January. Usually most visas are for 6 months or more. So if you are starting with us in January, you may come 30 days before the start date on your I-20, which would be in December. But if you get your visa stamp in October, you cannot use it to enter for fall. It would be to enter the US for the spring semester. Next question.
The next question is, what is the minimum amount of credits I need to take if I am online?
If you are an online student and you are not maintaining F1 status yet, there is no minimum, there is no maximum. However, for any student, and this is maybe more for our continuing student, I believe there's another webinar next week or, fairly soon. The answer changes. But if you are just starting your journey with IIT this fall semester, there are no minimums and there are no maximums. You should also speak with your academic advisor so that you and your advisor can take a look at your planning for your program, and then you can determine at that point how many credits you wish to take for the fall semester.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I do have another question here. If a student receives an F1 student visa, will she or he be able to travel to the United States, or will it also depend on the citizenship of the student's country, as well as permission to travel to certain countries overseas?
Okay, I think that was a few questions looped together. I will say this as part of my presentation that we always have to remember that the visa and the entry to the US are two different things. So I know that a lot of things that I've said this afternoon are focused on the visa issuance and obtaining a visa. We also need to remember that right now there are some it's not all the borders of the US that's open to international travelers, right? When COVID hit, our president signed a few proclamations barring international travel to individuals in a visa category. So we are hopeful that those proclamations will be lifted very soon. So I will put that answer to this specific question in that when you do get your visa stamp, also do check with us if you want to, the International Center or the Office of Admissions, to see, can my country, because now I have a visa stamp to the US with the passport of XYZ country, can I enter the US? And then we can give you that answer. Of course, I think if, very soon, as we are hopeful, when the general US border reopens, I think it would be a good idea perhaps for us to send out messaging to our international students to let them know that, the US borders are open. If you have a visa, you can come in. So we'll be sure to communicate that with you when it happens, hopefully.
Perfect. You know what, I want to be mindful. How much time will we have in order to answer these questions? Because there are some of them that I would like to answer that are a little bit more broad as opposed to the specific ones. So some of the specific ones, definitely send us an email. You can even chat it. I see that I have about 30 more minutes, so I'm actually good on time. So thanks for letting me know. Here's a question though, in terms of what should a student do if they are trying to get an emergency appointment to their U.S. embassy or consulate in their country?
You would need to please contact the U.S. embassy or consulate closest to you and request from them the emergency appointment or exemption, I think they call it, in order to get an earlier appointment. So everything with the visa has to do with the US embassy closest to your consulate. So contact them, let them know who you are, give them your name, your passport number, and let them know that you have a document, I-20, from the US, and you're willing to, you want to see if you can get an expedited visa stamp appointment to come to the US.
If a visa or consulate, if a consulate or embassy open late and I am able to get a visa appointment after August 24th, would I need a new I-20 with the updated course date to September 22nd, or will the current I-20 with a late arrival letter from the university be okay?
Good question. If you are able to get a visa stamp in late or August or early September, because of several reasons, we cannot edit the start date of your I-20. But again, I have been doing this for more than a decade, and usually with the I-20 with your visa stamp and a late arrival letter, they will let you enter the US, whether it's in Chicago, Atlanta, New York, wherever it is that you enter the US with. So no, we will not be updating the start date on the I-20. We will provide you with a late arrival letter at that point.
Okay, there are a little bit of specific questions for visas. I'm going to make it a little broader, which is, what if I already have a current visa? This example is an H4. How can I change it to an F1 and I'm in the United States?
So again, answering the question from a broad perspective, you would need to make an appointment with the International Center. We will guide you as to the documents that you need to submit to immigration to then change your status from H4 to F1. Again, you can email our office, which is iCenter, Right Center, the US way, so CENTER@iit.edu. And that email has been put in the chat box. Thank you, Sam. Email us, secure an appointment with us, and we'll put you through the steps of what you need to then change your status from H4 to F1.
Now the question is, what if I have a B1 and I'm in the United States? Can I change to an F1 and take online classes on a, and so I think there's a few things in there.
Yes, I'm looking at that question as well, Sam. Again, I will repeat what I said for the previous question. Again, these are very specific questions. So because we want to have more information about you, and of course, we don't want it in this format, again, please email our office. We will set an appointment, a virtual appointment with you to meet with an advisor. And at that point, then we will make the best determination as to you know, how your processing would go for you to go from B1 to F1. Again,
Okay.
email us, we'll set that up for you, yeah.
This student says, I have deferred admission. I am a transfer student. So by transfer, I'm guessing either you are in the United States going into an undergrad program, or you are going into a master's program and you're transferring from another university. Their question is, they deferred admission. Do I need an I-20?
So without me knowing more, you may or you may not. And yeah, I don't want to get specific with answers in here. So without me having more information about your immigration journey, you may need a new I-20 and you may not. So please, again, email icenter@iit.edu. That way we can get more specific information about you and then let you know that this is what you would need to do, whether you need a new I-20 or not.
This question is, what about immunization shots? Is it recommended to get them done in a student's home country with the COVID situation?
If Gary Wally is still here, I would let him take that question, actually. I don't know that the COVID situation has changed immunization. I do know that we do require all students to get immunization shots. And then I think there are 1 or 2 extra shots that our international students normally would take. So we will be also happy to follow up with questions that we were not able to answer today. So I don't think Gary is still on. However, I do know from experience that yes, you would need immunization. And then we will also answer this question specifically on the reopening website of Illinois Tech.
Perfect. This one's another question that we can reiterate again, but within how many days can I come to the university from the start of the fall semester? And I think you've already said September 22nd.
So it's the 30 days, there's a lot of days, 30 days, 60 days with immigration. But if you have a visa stamp, you may enter the US as early as 30 days before the start of the semester, or as late as 30 days from the start of the semester. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So as early as July, end of July, and as late as I would say September 22nd, 2020.
Perfect. This one is, if I can't get an F1 visa in time to come for the fall, can I get a B1 tourist visa and take classes and then change to an F1 when I get to the US? What would you advise here?
No, 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 no. So this is recorded. And even if it wasn't, the answer is no. When you stand before the visa officer in your home country, you have to be truthful to your intentions of why you want to enter the US. So the B1 visa is for you to visit, come to Disney World, and all of that. The F1 visa is for study. So we will not and cannot, and we do not encourage students to first get a B1 and then change to F1. So if you do want an F1 visa because you want to be an international student, I encourage you, and so does Illinois Tech, please go through the process of obtaining the F1 visa from the get-go.
Perfect. Can international students take more than 3 credits online in the fall?
From the guidance that we received yesterday, July 15th, yes. It appears as that the current guidance that we have would allow continuing international students, again, someone who already has attained F1 status in the US, to take more than one class online. All right. Hopefully that remains the case. That was what the rule was when COVID happened in the spring. Typically, the US government limits international students to taking one class up to 3 credits online to maintain full-time status. So when COVID-19 hit in March, they relaxed that rule and they allow students to take hybrid classes or online classes. Again, as of today, they have gone back to that ruling, and we hope that it remains permanent, at least for the rest of the fall 2020 semester.
Perfect. Are I-20s going to be sent out electronically by email?
I-20s can be received electronically. Again, pre-COVID, U.S. embassies, Customs and Border Patrol would mandate that you have an I-20 that has what's called a wet signature, meaning a signature made in blue ink. When COVID hit, they allowed us to email I-20s to students. However, that's at the discretion of the institution and the admission office and all of that. So you can connect with your individual enrollment advisor, and then they will give you an answer as to whether or not you can get your I-20 electronically.
And then I think a question here is, some students are going to go ahead and take online courses this fall. When should they expect their spring 2021 I-20?
Sam, I will let you take that one.
So just so you know, we are, and I speak on behalf of the grad and undergrad, just so you know, we are prioritizing students who are still coming to the country for the fall, but we are going to be processing spring I-20s within the next few weeks. Again, we understand that as embassies and consulates are opening across the world, there are students coming to us and asking us, can I get an I-20 for this upcoming fall? We are prioritizing them. You know, they're telling us that they have embassy appointments, but for anyone who is in the spring 21 cohort, just so you know, we will start processing those, I would say within, by at least the end of the month. So again, please connect with our teams, connect with your enrollment advisor. And it's very, very important, if you are perhaps a graduate student, to make sure you've indicated that information within your app tracker so we know when to expect you. And so again, make sure that you have the most up-to-date information within the app tracker, and then we'll go ahead and you know, process your I-20, and that's at the grad as well as at the undergraduate level. Sorry, as I go through, there, you know, some of them are just coming in, and I think I'm only at the 1 hour and 17 mark. So again, if you have very specific questions, we really want you to reach out to our I-Center specifically. So I think though, this is a good question. It's very general. Is the CVIS ID, does that change when you update an I-20, Kemi?
You're right. That's a good question. No, it is not. As long as you update the I-20 in a timely manner. So if you are pretty sure that A, you are going to study completely online for fall, or that you just want to start everything in 2021 January, you would need to let us know. You would need to let your admissions enrollment advisor know in a timely manner, and then we will defer your I-20 from fall 2020 to spring 2021. The ID, the CVIS ID number, which is a unique number given to your I-20, does not change when you do that deferral. So as long as we are made aware in a timely manner, the number would not change.
Here's a question. Is it mandatory for students who are online to come to campus for the spring of 2021?
I'm sorry, repeat that question?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand. And again, we're reading off of what we see in the chat, but I'm guessing, is it mandatory that students who are online for the fall of 2020, is it mandatory for them to come to campus for spring 2021?
At this point, I would say yes, we would like you to. Again, I would like to remind everyone as well that this COVID situation is new to all of us. It's new to the US government as well. So sometimes we may not have the precise answers to what you want, but I would say yes, we would want you to come to campus. Again, you can start online and then you can come to the US as long as you have a visa stamp in your passport.
Perfect. Someone is asking, can they have CPT on an H-4 visa?
No. So CPT and H-4 are two different statuses. CPT is attached to your F-1 status, and then H-4 is attached to the H-1B status. The only way that you can get CPT is when you change status from H-4 to F-1. That is when you then become eligible for CPT. Again, if you missed the spell out of CPT earlier, that is curricular practical training, which allows international students who are eligible to work off campus in a position directly related to their field of study.
I'm just trying to kind of filter through some of these questions even more so. Thank you. I know that I have 2 or 3 other colleagues, Rosa, Tyler, and Claire on as well. And we're just trying to field your questions. Again, if they are specific, you know, I see a student here who has very specific questions to her B1 visa. Please connect with the International Center. It's going to be very important because you have a lot more information you need to provide. And it's probably best that you don't put it in a public chat like this. Yes. Because it is pretty personal. We do recommend that you connect with our iCenter, and it's icenter@iit.edu. As well. So I'm just trying to think, do you have just, I guess, overall advice for any international students as I kind of filter through some of these
things? So kind of what I said earlier, I know that many of our students are online frequently, Facebook, Twitter, and all of that. Follow their pages of USCIS, the US Embassy of your home country. Follow their pages online. Sometimes they have options for you to sign up for updates that you can get via email. Do sign up. And then if and when you are not sure, just email our office, and one of our advisors will get back to you in writing. And then if you want to take it up a step, just like Sam said, the person that is asking questions about B1, B2, that is an appointment. That is something that we will be happy to talk with you in an appointment format as opposed to in a general format. So yeah, stay connected to our office, and we'll be happy to help you, assist you, and we look forward to seeing you on campus very soon.
Yeah. I do have maybe a few more because this is maybe for the spring students, which is, what is the latest date a student can arrive in the spring of 2020?
2021.
2021, I'm sorry, yes, they wrote 2020. You're correct, 2021.
I believe the spring semester normally starts, I don't know, like January 13th or January 11th or something like that. I am trying to look it up really quickly. So it's normally 30 days from that date. So give me 1 second as I look it up. So our spring 2021 begins on January 11th, 2021. So conceivably, you can arrive 30 days from that date, which will be February 10th. Now, that is for immigration purposes. Academically, however, you would need to connect with your department, connect with your professors, connect with your academic advisors so that they know that you are arriving late, so that they can give you information about your classes, so that even if you can take classes online, which I think you should do in those 3 weeks, we don't want to have anyone in a situation where you are already arriving late to the US, you're arriving late to Chicago, and you are taking your classes 3 weeks into the semester. So if this would happen, please plan ahead. Please connect with your academic advisor and your professors so that they are aware that you're coming late, and they can hopefully, and I know they will, make arrangements for you to follow as much of the materials as much as possible before you arrive in the US. And this would also be applicable if you are arriving late this fall. Right? If you're arriving late this fall, I believe Peter, our provost, alluded to that earlier. The university has made some wonderful investments into technology that allows for recording of our lectures. So yes, you can view them on Blackboard as they're happening, or watch the recording later. If you're hopeful to get a visa appointment or you already have one booked, please connect with your academic advisor and your professors so that they can work with you, essentially.
And then this is a good question in regards to financial statements. So let's say the student is either coming for the spring of 2021 or the fall of 2021. How soon should they submit their financial statements to us?
I think we normally take them within 6 months of the start of that semester. So if you are planning to be here in January, anytime from now would be fine. And then if you're coming, hopefully fall 2021, anytime from May or June of 2020. I'm sorry, if you're coming for fall, which is August, anytime from January or February of next year, you can submit those documents to our to admissions so that you can get your I-20 issued to you.
You know what, I see a lot of these messages and I'm seeing, you know, again, people have different visa statuses, like the O1 status. I'm guessing that these students should really connect directly with your office if they are specific. You know, I'm kind of just reviewing them and
I would take the O1 really quickly. So the O1 status it's a very general status. It's for exceptional ability. So if you do have that status, yes, you can connect with our office. You may actually end up speaking with me about that. I'm not sure if you would want to change from O1 to F1, but let us talk. Again, email icenter@iit.edu. I will be happy to talk to you about that. So whoever wrote that, I'm happy to assist you with that process.
Perfect. You know, as I keep reading and seeing a lot of these questions here, I think that we really want to get to all of your questions and answer them. So because some of them might be specific and they should be answered maybe by different parties within the university, we'll definitely send up follow-up emails to each and every one of the people who have attended and registered. If we were unable to get to your question because they were specific, again, we've given you that directive to reach out specifically to like the iCenter at iit.edu. And then more importantly, this will and is recorded, so you should always be able to follow back on this presentation. As everything continuously changes, I think Kemi and I like to use the term, things are fluid. We as an institution are doing the best that we can in order to welcome you all to our campus this upcoming fall. And so I want to maybe perhaps turn it over, Kemi, if you don't have anything else, or if we just go ahead and complete the presentation. So yeah, thank you to everyone as well.
Thank you very much. Again, please connect with our admission offices and our office, icenter@it.edu. We look forward to having you on campus. And if you're unable to join us, we still look forward to engaging with you online until such time that you can be in Chicago. Thank you, everyone.